Hey everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the Turkey Day edition of Today in Sports Betting. Happy Thanksgiving to y'all and happy Thanksgiving to you, Mr. Reichel. How are you today?
Doing pretty well. Thankfully, the first day of college basketball went pretty well for at least me personally. I know for most of the betting public as well, because basically all of the ranked favorites covered. I know that Villanova late ended up not covering, a couple of exceptions here or there. They started off, and you just saw a bunch of seeded teams laying wood, destroying teams
Yep.
by about 30 plus apiece. Then the late action was kind of more normal, as you had Villanova not covering, you had UCLA losing outright, which both of us had.
Yep.
So that overall was not a surprise to me, but you had a lot of ranked teams that looked really, really good, and that's something that you might want to keep in mind moving forward.
Yep, agreed. I was lucky enough to take one of those favorites that did not cover for my premium play. That was the Arizona State Sun Devils -8.
I forgot about them also. Yeah, okay.
Yep, they had they did well the first half. They had the lead up to about 11 or 12 there late in the first half. It was 7 at halftime, and basically played them even for the second half.
Did you watch that game?
Bits and pieces. I watched most of the second half.
How good is Fats Russell from Rhode Island?
Yeah, he's very good.
He's something else. I don't think he has a pro career or anything like that, but he made some passes in that game.
Got terrific vision.
Wow.
Got terrific vision. You know, I thought he fouled out with about 5.5 minutes left, and I thought that maybe Arizona State could do some damage without him, but they just every time they try to hit that big 3-pointer or just something to put it in that next level, it just couldn't quite get home. So
it's just one of those situations where you could tell it from the get-go that Arizona State was the better team.
Mm-hmm.
But Fats Russell, that's a player right there. And if you didn't see any of the passes I'm talking about, he had this one like wraparound spin pass, which I kind of have to say it looked magic-esque at some point. Like, you put backspin on the ball while hooking it so the ball would slow down and not go. It was really one of the nicest passes I've seen in college in a while.
Yeah.
He's really good. And it's a shame that his team is not as good because Rhode Island's probably not going to make the tournament this year. And Fats Russell's a hell of a watch.
Yeah, he's got a real shot to be player of the year, although that's a really tough conference competing for player of the year, but he certainly
I don't think his team's going to win enough games, but in terms of overall talent in the actual conference, you have Crutcher from Dayton, you have pretty much anybody from Richmond or St. Louis, and then you have Fats Russell, who's going to put up massive numbers on a team that's probably going to finish slightly above 500.
Yeah, he's I would say he's probably a lock for first team all conference. But
he'd be my starting 5 in all college basketball for most underrated players in the country.
Agreed. So now we're going to take a look, Scott, at a couple of games today that's going to involve a lot of players that probably aren't underrated.
Including your favorite team, Arizona State, which you literally just screwed you yesterday. We're going to be talking about them for a little bit.
Well, I thought you were talking about KU because they are my least favorite team year in and year out.
That's a separate. Anytime that Kansas is an underdog this early in the season, I consider that gravy.
Yeah, that's and we might as well talk about that. We got that game coming up here real quick, so we're gonna get to it so we can get our show posted for anybody that's looking for advice. Gonzaga, Kansas, Scott. It's a Gonzaga is 4-point favorite in this one. Is there a team better than Gonzaga in the country this year?
For me, no. Short way to put it is that I thought Gonzaga was the best team in the country going in, and I'd say about a week ago I thought that. And then Gonzaga somehow got better over the span of the last week because the issue that I had with Gonzaga a little bit was from the shooting guard perspective. I just thought that this team was good, but I thought they could have potentially used more depth on the perimeter. And then you end up getting Andrew Nembhard, who ended up starting all 67 games for the Gators over the last 2 years, and he transfers to Gonzaga. Oh, by the way, you don't need any type of wait period or anything. So enjoy. You're just going to go straight to the number 1 team in the country. And I'm thinking to myself, how is this team supposed to lose?
Yeah.
I thought that was their main issue because at center, they ended up losing some key pieces from last year, but they end up getting Timmy back, who I think is great. Kispert's still a hell of a shooter. You got Ajayi at the point guard spot, and shooting guard was the main concern. They have a very, very good five-star prospect who's supposed to be the main guy from that position. But as a whole, you're looking at some grad transfers. You're looking at Nembhard now. This team is stacked, but Jalen Suggs, that five-star prospect who Gonzaga ended up getting, this team is really just a surplus of riches at this point. And Kansas lost a lot of good players from last year's team. As Azubuike's gone, you also lost Dotson, who were, in my opinion, the best two players. I know Garrett's back, who's pretty good. Yeah. But this Gonzaga team is just a different animal for me.
Yeah, losing Azubuike was huge for KU because there was nobody like him. He cleaned the boards, led the nation in field goal percentage.
Also as a rim protector.
Yep. Blocked just almost 2 shots a game. Very, very, very solid. Gonzaga lost Killian Tilly, but he played hurt. He was hurt a lot of the year last year. They did most of their damage without him on the floor. So I think this is a team that knows how to play without him.
Well, they lost him, but I was mostly referring to Filip Petrusev, who was not able to come back because of some COVID issues and et cetera. But he was great last year for Gonzaga.
Right, he was the player of the year in the West Coast Conference.
That's what I'm saying, but he was unable to come back because of COVID, et cetera. So even though Tilly was kind of icing on the cake because he was also never healthy, as you just said. I was mostly referring to Petrusev, who was that good. But either or, this Drew Timme guy, if you don't know who he is, he's very good. So it's not like Gonzaga's all of a sudden screwed in the front court. They basically just retooled and somehow might be even better than were last year, which is very concerning for the rest of the country.
Yeah, they call Timme a center. I'd say he's more of a 4.
I think that's fine, though, because Gonzaga plays so fast that they can afford to go small-ish and just use a small lineup, use I'd say stretch 4, and then just let Timme do whatever he wants on the boards and do anything on just dives to the rim.
Yeah, with Azubuike, had Azubuike, made it another year,
would have had a field day.
Yeah, they would have had nobody to compete with him. But
now you're looking at the likes of McCormick and Mitch Lightfoot, who's finally back active again. Like, there's a massive drop off there.
Yeah, I got Mitch Lightfoot is to me not a guy that should be getting regular minutes.
He should, but he's going to because Bill Self seems to really like him for some reason.
He's gritty,
but whatever that means because he has no offensive talent at all.
Scott, any reason you're going to take KU here?
No. I think that you could if you wanted to. I still think this line's going to climb up. I know if I was really going to be looking one way, I feel like all the value is going on the total. Because this line has completely shot through the roof. It originally opened up roughly 147.5, 148. It's at about 155.
That's what I've got too.
Right now. And it was 152 about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Which means that it's gone up even 3 more points. I'm not surprised because this Gonzaga team should be pushing around 90 per game. Or like 85, 88 per game because this offense is
top scoring team in the country last year.
That's what I'm saying. They might not finish number 1 because the team's with pace, but they should easily finish top 3 in terms of efficiency, et cetera, because this team is just so deep in every single area. I know yesterday I ended up giving out an official play on the San Diego State under, which ended up winning with UCLA. That was a 132.5, ended up landing at 131, so it's a bit of a sweat. But for this game, I will be officially playing Gonzaga. I had him at 3.5 on FanDuel. However, unfortunately, because of the fact that we record the videos in the morning, 3.5 is not available anymore. So now I had to shop around. I ended up seeing 4 being available on DraftKings at -112. That's where I'm going to go with it. And I think that Gonzaga should win this game. It will be close, but I do think Gonzaga will have enough to win this game by about 8 points.
That sounds about right to me. This is a KU team that's going to try to slow you down. They're going to play, they play very, very good defense. But I think the better team is going to be able to impose their will as far as the pace goes. I'm with you. I think the value is gone at 155. I would have liked to play it somewhere south of 150. I think once it hits 150, I'm not sure there's a ton of value. This is like I said, it's a Gonzaga team that averages close to 90 points a game last season, but KU will do their best. They still do have very good defense. And, Bill Self is obviously a very, very high quality coach, top 5 coach in America right now. But unfortunately, he's met a coach and a team that's probably a little bit better than he is. And I got no place in my Thanksgiving heart for KU today. I take Gonzaga -4.
Yep, I feel the same way.
All right, so now we're going to take a look at the other kind of a marquee game on the schedule, Scott. That's going to be the Villanova Wildcats and the Arizona State Sun Devils. Villanova, no problem yesterday in their opener. Arizona State, as we touched on earlier, struggled a little bit with a pretty damn good Rhode Island team, but ultimately they were the better team throughout and ended up winning by 6. Villanova 5-point favorite here, 154 is your total. What do you got here, Scott?
Well, I know that I did not give out anything officially in the game. I mentioned that there was juice on the total, that Villanova should win pretty easily, and they did not. The game was very close before they ended up stretching it out a little bit late. The total was pretty interesting because I'm pretty sure it middled, depending on where you got it, so that's something to keep in mind. For me, I'm still going Villanova. I know that they didn't look impressive in the opener, and Arizona State ended up winning, I'd say pretty comfortably. They didn't cover by any means, but they still won pretty comfortably. I'm not a big fan of this Arizona State team. I think that Remy Martin is a good player, but he's also highly overrated. I don't think that this team is very disciplined with Hurley as the coach. I don't think they're tough at all. And this team is a very, very fragile team. And when things go badly, they compound the issue rather than simply letting things go by quickly. I feel like you kind of notice the same thing. That this team, don't get me wrong, when they're in a rhythm, this team can click offensively very easily. But when things go a little bit poorly, either defensively or just really on any single area, they really don't make adjustments that quickly.
No, and they really seem to lack that killer instinct. Like like you said, they really were only meshing for about 8 minutes yesterday in the first half, where you really saw a glimpse of how good this team should be and how good they could be. But that talent was mainly kind of kept in the dark for most of the game as they let Rhode Island come back and then hang around, take the lead for a while.
Arizona State, of course, won the game, but that was an issue I had with them last year where they were laying huge numbers. They just let poor teams hang around, and they really just didn't look that impressive at times. And I feel like that's concerning because especially when you're considered to be either the favorites to win the Pac-12 or you're ranked already in the top 20 to start the season, when you have to go up against in these step-up games, the top 3 team in the country, do I trust you to actually hang around when you get punched in the mouth? And the answer is I don't think I can. Villanova, even though they didn't look great against Boston College for the majority of the game, if you watch the last, I'd say, 8 minutes of the second half, they buckled down. They realized it's time for us to do what we got to do. We're going to do it. And defensively, they clamped down. Offensively, they were great, and they won the game. So the thing is, in execution late in games, do I trust Villanova more than Arizona State by a wide margin? And the answer is yes. So for that reason, I'll take Villanova.
Yeah, I don't think Arizona State has that gear yet, as far as being able to just clamp down and put the other team away.
I don't know if they're going to, but that's something that I just think Villanova is a team that, even though they came out of it flat, I still trust Jay Wright more than Hurley, and I still personally believe that Villanova was just a little bit off, and I think they'll look a lot sharper today.
Yeah, and at 5, you're right in that zone where – if it's a 1 to 3 point lead, you got a good shot of it going to 5 or more, with free throw shooting and everything.
And my question for you, I know that we just talked about it. We talked about Fats Russell and Rhode Island, everybody like that. Can Arizona State stop anybody on any given possession? Because I don't see it. This team defensively is a disaster.
They played decent perimeter defense, but man, they're slow. They're slow to rotate. They do leave a lot of open drives. Yeah, I think a better team is going to be able to exploit this team. I'd like to come on for our show.
So you want to come in, be contrarian and whatever.
Right. I
can't do it.
Hi, welcome to the Square College Basketball Show. As we've got the favorites, but I don't see a path for either 2 very, very good teams. Maybe top 10 teams by the end of the season, Scott, but you've got 2 of the elite teams that are squaring off against them. The points are right in that total where a small victory can become a cover simply because of free throw shooting in the end. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going square. I'm going chalk each side here. I've got Villanova -5. I don't see it.
I found this line fascinating to me. I thought Villanova, when I saw what happened last night, I thought Villanova would open at around 6.5 or 7. I thought 5 was too short.
Well, I think they gave Rhode Island a lot of credit. I think they gave them a lot of credit for that win.
I think it's fair. I'm just saying that I think you can agree that Arizona State's defense definitely left a lot to be desired. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, and I think that's going to get exploited here today. I guess another side of that, if you could find a team total somewhere, somewhere in the neighborhood of 80, I guess, is where that's going to be. 80, 75, 79 and a half. That might be playable because this, like you said, this Arizona State team, they're definitely not going to play any defense. If they have a shot here, they are going to have to just get up and down the court and outscore.
Yes, and my advice to you, if you were also looking in that direction for a total, I would take the over now rather than later. Even if you don't like the over per se, you've already seen a bit of uptick on the over. It went from 153 to 153 and a half, even 154. And this game will close at around 157. Yeah, especially it's the late game. It's the late primetime game.
Yep.
There's no night NFL game tonight.
Yep.
You're going to have a lot of action, and I don't see any under money coming in with Arizona State.
You got a lot of fat, drunk square bettors that are going to be pushing that total up, Scott.
Well, you got no other alternatives for stuff to watch.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's going to be the late game. You got the NFL game was canceled, which would have been a hell of a game.
I know, and I don't think many people are going to be sticking around for the fourth quarter of New Mexico, Utah State. So I don't see that really happening.
I don't wish anybody bad luck, but man, couldn't it have been like the Lions with the COVID outbreak instead of Baltimore? Good grief.
Well, that game is that's just a shame, but it is what it is.
It is.
Hopefully the game's even able to be played on Sunday, so we'll see what happens.
Agreed. All right, so there you go, guys. Short and sweet for Thanksgiving. Give everybody.
Oh, I thought we were going to be doing one of our own.
You want to do one of your? Well, we got to get to it, man, because this KU game kicks.
It all comes down to when the video gets like the editing and whatever. Anyway, so that's out of our control.
I understand, but right now we're 2 hours away from KU game.
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. I'm not really.
All right, what do you got? What do you got?
Well, I feel like you know where I'm going to go when I mentioned the teams playing. It's going to be Mississippi Valley State versus North Texas. I'm taking North Texas minus the 34.5 on FanDuel at -1 at 33.5 at -110 on FanDuel. North Texas, are they that good? No. Does it matter? No. I can't. How am I supposed to avoid taking a team that's laying 33.5 when the team they're playing against was a 37-point underdog yesterday and they lost by 80? They gave up 140-plus points. I know Arkansas offensively is pretty good. I get that. I know North Texas plays zone. They're not really great on offense. I get that. 33.5, they just lost by 80. I have to take North Texas. I don't know how this line does not move up to at least, I don't even know, 38 by kickoff. Nobody's kickoff by tip-off. Nobody's going to back Mississippi State. How are you supposed to back Mississippi State? And North Texas hasn't even played a game yet, so there is a chance they could be better than I expect them to be. I'm not backing this because I think North Texas is going to be a sleeper in their conference. I'm taking it because Mississippi Valley State might be worse than some D3 teams in college. That's all I'm saying for basketball. So my pick here is North Texas. I'm going to lay the wood. Until Mississippi Valley State shows me that they are even worthy of beating a D2 team, I'm going to lay it. So that's how I'm looking at this. You have any thoughts on that?
So we're trying to figure out a way to make the show as square as possible.
I don't know if fully square as possible works because you make the argument that since the spread is so high, you will see money coming in on the other side. I don't see that. My play of the day personally was an even bigger spread. I took a 37.5 on my play of the day, and that's up to 41.5. So it's really all just about value for me. I don't see where money is going to come in on Mississippi Valley State. I know that in most spots it's available at 35.5.
What do you got that's 40? Oh, the Illinois-Chicago State game?
Yeah, I had Illinois-Chicago State. I got Illinois as my play that at 37.5. And
you try a little middle shot there, Scott?
At 41.5, I'm not exactly interested.
I got a 42.5 a bet online.
That's fun. If you wanted to go for it, I'm not going to go for it. I think Illinois is going to win by 50. But the thing about North Texas and Mississippi Valley State is that it's currently 35.5 in most books. It's 33.5 on FanDuel. I expect it to close probably around 37, 38. So I'll take the number I can get it. And people might say, well, it's a huge spread. It's not worth it. There's no value. That's incorrect because if you beat a line move in about 3 or 4 points in any direction, I consider that automatic value. So for that reason, I'll take North Texas.
I'll take this very good Rhode Island team against Boston College. I'll take Fats Russell and company against a against a Boston College team. I think they got up for that Villanova game. I think this is a letdown spot. I think Rhode Island remains focused. I think getting them at Pick'em is a pretty good value. So I'll take the running Rams and steer clear of Mississippi Valley State.
If I was looking into that game, I'd probably take the over. I know it's at 147 for starters. It went up to roughly 148.5, 149.
I got 49.5 right now.
Yeah, I just see over money coming in because Rhode Island seems like an over team. Boston College offensively looked pretty sharp against Villanova, and Rhode Island's defense is significantly worse. I could see one team reaching 80, and that game turns into a potential track meet.
All right.
Any thoughts on that or my North Texas play? I don't really know how you're supposed to say. I actually think there's value on Mississippi Valley State here at 30 and change. No, I don't know if I'd feel comfortable getting 50 from Mississippi Valley State at this point. I can't.
North Texas is not good. I mean, that's not.
Oh, they are not good at all. But we're talking about the UMass of college basketball right now.
I understand.
That's what we're looking at. So if we're talking about a game and a card that is definitely not as action-packed as it was yesterday, that's one line that I looked at and just said, this line has to go up. That's how I'm looking at it.
All right.
Oh, well.
Okay. We'll see how it goes. That's and you certainly could be right. It's a really bad basketball team. They are dreadful. And you're right. I'm not sure I would back Mississippi Valley State versus like the D3 champion. It's certainly I watched my daughter was a cheerleader at a NAIA school, and I watched their basketball team win the national championship 3 years ago, and I'm pretty sure they could beat this Mississippi Valley State team.
If you have the opportunity to ever watch Mississippi Valley State on television against an actual either Power 5 team or even a Mountain West team, I really suggest just watching about 5-10 minutes and just enjoy the laughs. Because it is – I can't even describe it. You lose by 90-something last year to Utah, and you start the season off losing by 80 in the first game of the season.
I watched a little bit of that game yesterday. They were almost incapable of bringing the ball up the court and getting a shot off.
It's really a matter of at some point you offer them the first ever surrender flag in the history of college sports. You just tell them, if you want to just stay home for Thanksgiving, enjoy the holiday, see the family, we'll let you do it. And you can just, accept the forfeit and save yourself the embarrassment.
Here's your $50,000. Now go eat some turkey and So. All right. So there you go. Just to recap, Scott and I like the favorites in the two big games. Scott likes in the other marquee game of the day. Scott has North Texas covering what'd you say, 33.5?
Yeah, 33.5 at -110 on fan.
Beating that line move. It's now at 35. So catching that value. I'm going a little more traditional, taking a pick'em game. I've got the Rhode Island Rams against Boston College at a pick'em. So
I'm trying to be more radical by taking these huge I don't care what number you take. If they cover the spread, that's all that matters.
Okay, good enough. And you're right. Ultimately, you're right. So there you go. And I will highly recommend if you've got ESPN, if you've got ESPN Plus, or if you've got ESPN, you can watch ESPN 3 games. Do watch a little bit of that Mississippi State game, Mississippi Valley State, even if you don't have any action on it. It's definitely worth watching. You're gonna look at that game and you're gonna go, man, I think that North Texas team, I think they're going to be something this year.
You might think to yourself, if I still have some student debt that you're dealing with, why didn't I go for a scholarship over there? A couple questions there.
Would you like to play college basketball at the D1 level? Well, Mississippi Valley State is looking for you. All right, there you go, bud. So happy Thanksgiving, man.
Yeah, same to you. I hope that you enjoy all of the quality sports content and all of the quality food and whatever your household is serving. And I look forward to seeing all of you again tomorrow.
Yeah, there you go. You guys, appreciate y'all being here. We're thankful that we've got our health and we've got our families. Our families are healthy this time of year. And you know what? If you've got that, you can make it through, and everything else kind of pales in comparison. So appreciate everybody tuning in, everybody checking it out. Wish you nothing but the best on this Thanksgiving Day, including success in all your bets. Hope every one of those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money. You're looking for a little help. You're looking for a little more information. You could certainly do worse than check out winnersandwhiners.com. It is the best site anywhere in the world for deep dives into all these games and find out about all these teams that maybe you haven't kept up with in the offseason, see about the changes they've made, et cetera, et cetera. winnersandwhiners.com is the place for you. All right, so you guys take care. Have a great day. Happy Thanksgiving. Gobble, gobble, everybody. Scott and I will see you tomorrow on Today in Sports Betting. Take care, everyone.